The meeting will now come to order. Welcome to the February 27th, 2023 City of Asheville Board of Adjustment meeting. My name is Paul Wilczynski, and I am the chair of this board. The Board of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body that is governed by the North Carolina General Statutes and the city's Unified Development Ordinance. We are authorized to hear requests for variances from the city's Unified Development Ordinance, also known as the UDO, appeals from final determinations made by city officials charged with enforcement of the city's UDO, requests for reasonable accommodations, and other requests as may be provided in the city's ordinances. Our first agenda item is the review and adoption of the minutes from the January 2023 meeting. All in favor of adopting the meeting, please say aye. The minutes? Aye. All opposed? The January minutes are adopted. We now begin the evidentiary hearings for the case listed on the agenda. In hearing cases, the board conducts a quasi-judicial evidentiary hearing. That means it is like a court hearing. State law sets specific procedures and rules concerning how this board must make its decisions. These rules are different from some other types of land use decisions like rezoning cases, which are legislative in nature. This board's decisions are constrained by the standards in the city's ordinances and the facts presented at the hearing. The board hears and considers evidence presented at the hearing and applies the standards set forth in state law and the city's ordinance. The board must base its decisions upon competent, material, and substantial evidence presented at the hearing. If you will be speaking as a witness, please focus on the facts and the standards, not personal preferences or opinion. Participation is limited. This meeting is open to the public. Everyone is welcome to watch. Parties have rights to participate fully. Parties may present evidence, call witnesses, and make legal arguments. Witnesses may testify as to facts to which they are competent to testify, so long as those facts relate to the legal standards. In addition, lay or non-expert witness testimony is limited to facts and not opinions. For certain topics, this board needs to hear opinion testimony from expert witnesses. These topics include projections about impacts on property values and projections about impacts on traffic safety. For variance requests, a 4/5 vote of the board is required to grant the variance. For all other hearings and matters, including the adoption of the minutes, the decision will be made by a simple majority vote of the board. All witnesses must swear or affirm their testimony. At this time, we will administer the oath for all individuals who intend to provide witness testimony. Please stand and raise your right hand if you plan to provide testimony. Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. For our first and only variance request, the owner, Albert James Siemens Revocable Trust, and the applicant, George Stowe of George Stowe Architect, is requesting a variance to the accessory dwelling unit standards in section 786F5, development standards, setback standards of the Unified Development Ordinance. The petitioner is seeking relief from the rear setback requirements for a 390 square foot addition to the existing non-conforming structure at 10 Madison Avenue, pin 9649-53-2484. Mr. Kelly will be presenting.
Hey, Tyler Kelly, Residential Review Specialist with DSD. I do want to correct the record that it's the expansion, the bathroom expansion is only 25 square feet.
Okay.
So the applicant, George Stowe, is requesting a variance to development standards in section 786F5. Those are the basic development standards for the zoning district RM8. This is a single family residence. Primary structures may not encroach into the rear setback. The proposed expansion into the rear setback is on an existing non-conforming building as well as a non-conforming lot. The encroachment variance would be a 77% allowance, and that's based on the math in a later slide. So in RM8, both front and rear are 15 feet setbacks, and for each side it's 6. The existing non-conforming structure encroaches into the front, rear, and the north side setback. The parcel is an existing non-conforming lot that does not meet the minimum lot standards. There's a section again. The proposed addition would not exceed the existing rear setback encroachment, i.e. the addition does not extend as far into the rear setback as the rest of the rear portion of the building. Here's the location. You can see Chestnut Street, Fuddruckers property. There's a closer examination. So both to the rear and either side are residential properties, and across the street is a professional office building.
Could you do me a favor if you have any kind of a pointer? Could you point to what it is you're talking about?
This is the lot in question, 10 Madison. This property, this property, this property are all residential, while this one is a professional office building. So it's kind of skirted by office district, yet a majority of the uses surrounding it are residential. These are site photos. This is the front of the house. It's currently under construction for renovations. Here you can see where the bathroom addition will come out on the south end of the house, which is considered the side. This is the proposed layout with the area on the far right being the addition in question. Continued Exhibit A. These are the measurements of the entire rear portion of the building. And so you can see the proposed addition does not exceed the already existing rear setback encroachment.
So where, oh, so the whole
so if you can,
rear of the building encroaches, you're saying?
yes, if you can see here, you know, that's 1.1, so essentially that's 14 feet encroaching. And here we have a 3.9 distance from the property line, so that's, you know, 11.6
Which
encroaching.
side is the rear? I guess I'm a little confused.
This entire display is the rear of the house. So this property line here that's following diagonal, kind of in a acute angle from the house, that is the rear property line, with this being the south side. And so you can see here that within the rear, the side, and the front, that the encroachments are existing on this non-conforming lot. So here you can see the front, or the rear setback crosses straight through the existing home. Here's just a closer shot of that. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
So essentially what the applicant is saying is they want to continue an already existing encroachment, but a little further out and not quite as far up in that picture.
That's correct. And so both the lot and the house are considered non-conforming, and there is a separate section for non-conforming dimensional standards, but there's a key word in there that does not increase the extent of the non-conformity. So under the direction of Chris Collins and Eric, we decided that the staff couldn't be the one didn't have the authority to make that decision, so that's why we're here.
Are there any other questions? Thank you. Mr. Stowe, would you like to speak? Or either Mr. Stowe or some other representative?
I'll let Mr. Stowe speak. Yeah, that's one here.
Is this overhead projector? Does this project?
It does. Yeah, it's on. Okay, great. Yes, sorry.
Maybe this drawing gives you a little better idea of the,
Excuse me, could you, I'll do two things. Could you start by giving us your name, and could you speak into the microphone?
it's George Stowe. I'm an architect here in Asheville. So I'm showing you a drawing. It's the same drawing that was presented earlier, but this one shows the, maybe I can get the extent of the lot. I don't know, can I zoom it in or out or anything?
I don't think.
Okay, but anyway, the only thing I wanted to show is just that the setback, he was showing this line in the back, the line in the front also crosses through the house. We are within the side yard setback with the addition here. So, just a comment about, so it's a small house to start with, has 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. We're just trying to increase the functionality and the availability of the house, or the use of the house for you know, more, a family, if you will. So we're converting a closet space into a bathroom and adding the bath here, so this will become a main bedroom with a bath, existing closet, upgrading the existing bath so the bedroom could accommodate more than one person if it worked out that way, and they would share a bath that's over here. So I think it improves the house and makes it compatible with the neighborhood, and the upfits to the outside and the finishes will all be for the good of, you know, good of the property and good of the neighborhood. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Oh, excuse me.
I ask a question. So theoretically, the proposed addition is just bringing it closer towards the property line, am I correct? Is that what I'm getting at?
I'm sorry.
The proposed addition is bringing it closer to the property line.
The
Am I
addition,
misreading?
No, but it's still encroaching
Because
on the setback.
Okay.
the addition is,
That answers.
It's less encroaching than
Yeah,
the existing house.
Exactly, that's it.
Okay, I have 1 or 2 questions. Were you the person who completed this application?
yes, I filled out.
Okay. It says on the application, construction is underway. And I was running, is it construction of what you're asking for the variance for, or is it other construction? Which is to say, what you're asking for, are you already working on it?
Well, you kind of might have gotten the gist from the presentation here, but we were led to believe that this project would be approved without having to appear before the Board of Adjustments. So I got a letter from the planning staff, or an email, that said we could apply for building permit, which was done. A building permit was issued, and construction began based on that. It had no changes to the information that you're looking at here. And then construction was stopped by the zoning administration because they decided we needed to appear before this board to get a variance for this addition. So as it stands right now, they haven't built the addition. They will not inspect the footings, and they put a stop to construction. So that's where we are.
Okay, I'm going to switch to Mr. Kelly. Is that accurate? Would you say that he was led to believe something that in fact ended up not being the case?
I was not present at that conversation. I think he essentially had a alterations and renovation permit, and during that review is when the proposed addition came up. I can't speak to the timeline, but the pictures that I showed today were taken today, so the addition hasn't been constructed whatsoever. The interior renovations, I guess, have been ongoing, and I'm not sure if, I can't speak for building safety staff whether the inspections were stopped or not.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify?
I'm the owner, if I could just say a couple of words.
Yeah, sure, could you start with your name?
Sure. My name is Jim Siemens, Albert James Siemens.
Can I use this?
Just briefly for context, the property to the south of 10 Madison is office, 202 East Chestnut Street, and I own that building as well. So the bathroom is coming out 5 feet from Madison toward a building that I own. The building to the right belongs to the Belials. Jan Belials practices law in that building. The next building belongs to the Belials. It's in the course of renovation. The next building belongs to Chris Peterson, its office, and then you have the Fuddruckers after that. So there's actually a pretty heavy commercial corridor all the way through. At one time, I had thought that I would expand my office into 10 Madison, which would pull a straight line of office. And the city thought otherwise, and that's fine. In hindsight, it's a better use to be residential, but to be fully functionally residential, we'd like to add the bathroom. And that's where we're coming from.
Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who's here that wishes to testify? No, okay. Is there a motion from a member of the board?
Make a motion to approve the variance as stated in the application?
Second?
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, there being no discussion, board members, when I say your name, please say aye or nay. Ms. Godsey?
Aye.
Mr. Van Danish?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Wise?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The request for the variance is approved.
Thank you.
There being no other business on the agenda, if there are no objections, we will adjourn the meeting. Are there any objections?
No.
There are none. This